Namaste, this is Vinayak again back with today a chapter in politics. That is, we are going to learn about outcomes of democracy. In the earlier chapters, we have studied about the political parties and various chapters. Now, federalism, power sharing, all those. And now, finally, we are going to study about outcomes of democracy. And for that, today I'll be sharing a PPT with you in which you can learn and note down all the key points which will be helpful for you. So, this is an important chapter as per your examination point of view. And here we are going to know about what do you mean by outcomes. Outcomes is nothing but result of the democracy. So result of the democracy here we are going to know why democracy is a better form of government. We are going to know about it. Democracy promotes equality among the people. So as of now, we learned from the lower classes and the basic definition of democracy, what we learned: to the people, for the people, and by the people. The same thing we are going to know here. We are going to learn that only. So democracy to the people means it is for the people, by the people. By the people means people are only the representatives. They get elected and they are for the people only. So here democracy promotes equality among the people means all the people. All the people means who are those people? All the citizens of that particular country. So if that country is having democracy, democracy promotes equality among the people means all the people are equal. So democracy helps that part of promoting equality among the people. Then the second point, enhances the dignity of the individual. It enhances means it boosts up. It boosts up, or what we say, it gives the value for the dignity of the individual. How it is enhancing? For example, in our country, India, as we all know, India is the largest democratic country in the world. So in our country, we have some fundamental rights, directive principles for each and every citizen of our country. So we have fundamental rights. Using that rights, we have many advantages. And that is nothing but it is a part of enhancing the dignity of the individual. So we have our own value. So we have value and we have fundamental rights. We have our rights which we can enhance it. We can use it. For that, even we have like how many fundamental rights? Many we have, like right to education, right to religion, all these things. So all these are nothing but they are the enhanced dignity of the individual. The next third one, improves the quality decision making. It improves the quality of decision making. What is the quality of decision making means? Here in a democracy, whatever issues are there for the welfare of the people, the decision making will improve. How the quality improves? Because as we already discussed, it is for the people, to the people, by the people. So People are only the decision makers. How it is possible? They can discuss, they can know what is required among the people, and then the decision making can be taken. So it will be for mostly it will be for the welfare of the people only, and it is not taken by a single person or so. It is taken by all the people. So that's why it improves the quality of decision making. Next, provides a method to resolve conflicts. If any conflicts are there among the groups, among the organizations, among the political parties, among the people, so all these can be resolved, and a democracy can provide a method to resolve the conflicts. And it also allows room to correct mistakes. If there are any mistakes, whether it may be in a constitution or it may be in the laws or any new law which has been implemented, which is not useful or which is creating problems among the people, then among the administration, then it can be corrected, it can be changed. So that's why it allows room to correct mistakes. These 5 points are very, very important. Then sixth point, it is a legitimate government. Legitimate means with a clear view, clear ideas. It is a legitimate. How we are all the citizens of India, those who have universal adult franchise. Here, those who are above 18 years of age, they have the right to vote, and they will vote and elect the representatives, and it is a legitimate government. So next one is, it is slow, less efficient, and not very responsive or clean. Here this is a little disadvantageous. It is slow because the decision making gets very slow. Why? Because it has to come from the people and again reach back to the people through the parliament, through the elected representatives and all those. So it is a time taking process. So that's why it is slow. Less efficiency. Efficiency also will be less and not very responsive or clean. And here or clean means we are talking about the corruption. Nowadays many corruptive methods are being used. So that's why it is not very responsive or clean. Then it is people's own government. We spoke no, now it is for the people, to the people, by the people. So that's why it is people's own government. It has its own ability to generate its own support. So it has its own ability to generate its own support. In ninth class, you studied it. You studied about electoral process. What is the system? What we are having? So every country will have, every democratic country will have their own systems. They have their own system of elections and all. So they have its own ability to generate their own support. Next, what are the outcomes of democracy? What is the result? Here, outcomes means the result. Democracy is just a form of government. It is a form of a government. It can only create conditions for achieving something. It is only giving you some guidelines or conditions using that particular country's constitution and then the laws which have been created, and all those things are used, and democracy can create conditions for achieving something. Citizens have to take advantage and achieve goals. Citizens only, it is the responsibility, it is the duty of the citizens to have, they have to take advantage and achieve goals. Now we were talking earlier about the fundamental rights. When I have a right to vote, So it's my responsibility to take that advantage and go to the polling booth and vote the representative whom I like, whom I feel that they are good. Like that, every fundamental right we have advantage which we need to use and achieve goals. So constitution is there which has framed many things for the citizens. So we need to understand that and take advantage to achieve our goals. What are the things that democracy must provide? First one, people have the right to choose rulers and people have control over the rulers. How we have right to choose the rulers? Election, process of election. We are only choosing the representative, and then representative in turn we are choosing a political party, and then they have, and even after they get elected also we have a control over those rulers. If we are dissatisfied we can remove them, and if we are satisfied we can allow them to continue their administration. People's participation in decision making. So indirectly our participation is more in decision making. People's, we have our own participation in decision making. So whatever new law or rule is to be implemented, first it has to be discussed among the people. Then only it will be taken to the parliament, both the houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and then it has to go to president, and then the bill has to be passed. Finally, it will come into existence. So people's role is a big in decision making. Government should be accountable to citizens, responsive to the needs and expectations of the citizens. So generally what happens, every political party will be checking that, because if they want to form a government, if they want to get elected, what they will do, they should be accountable, helpful to the people, responsive to the needs of the expectations of the citizen, by which the political parties prepare their manifesto and try to implement all the things. So an elected government should be accountable. They should show what they have done. They should show all the expenses and everything to the citizens, responsive to the needs and expectations of the citizens. Democracy is based on the idea of deliberation and negotiation. So in democracy, it is possible that any idea discussed, or if any dissatisfaction is there, it can be discussed and negotiated. Anything like any bill is passed in the parliament. If all the members are not satisfied or Rajya Sabha is not satisfied, they can amend. Amend means correct the bill. They can change the points. What is required, they can bring it in the negotiations, and then finally it can be passed. Passed means here it can be implemented. Cost of time that democracy pays is worth it. So even though it is a slow process, time taking process, but still whatever decisions are taken, they will be generally fruitful. Fruitful means advantageous to the people. That's why we say it is pays is worth it. It is worth for it. Government has to follow procedures and its decisions must be both more acceptable and effective. So the government has to follow procedures as per the constitution as well as the systems, and its decisions must be more acceptable and effective. All the people must be acceptable. They should accept. See why it is difficult in suppose in India, because India is a secular state. What do you mean by secular? India doesn't have any official single religion, but India has many n number of religions, castes and communities. So for all, the government has to satisfy them. So that's why whatever the decisions they take, it must be more acceptable and effective. Democracy develops mechanisms for citizens to hold the government accountable and take part in decision making. So here democracy only develops mechanisms, means systems for the citizens, for the people to hold the government, to ask the government accountability and take part in decision making. And you all know one fundamental right was started later, that is Right to Information Act, RTI. What is it? It is that you are very much free. Every citizen has the right to go and ask the government any accountability. It has to show the transparency. For example, a road has been laid in your village or in your town or in your street. So you can go and, using the RTI Act, you can ask the cost, how much they have spent, what is the material they have used, how much they have paid to the contractor. All this information you can take as a fundamental right. You have every right to ask it. So you are making the democracy, the government accountable. Democracy ensures that decision making will be based on norms and procedures. Will be based on norms and procedures. Democracy provides transparency. What the government is doing in a democracy, that shows the transparency. It will be very clear to understand about the government to the people. Measurement of democracy as per their outcome. How do you measure the democracy? As per their outcome. Result: regular, free and fair elections. Regular means, in our country we have various systems of elections. Generally, regarding our elected representatives, every 5 years elections are conducted in our country. They should be free from all the corruptive practices or the this thing, muscle power and all those things, money and all should not be used, and it should be free, and every citizen should get their right. And then fair elections, that is in a very fair manner, in a very clear and transparent manner, elections must be held. Open public debate on major policies and legislations. So as I told you, decision making depends on this. Open public debate. Every citizen has a right to discuss, and there should be a debate. They should speak. Even in parliament, you see, in the legislative assemblies, you will see, in Rajya Sabha, you will see that there will be a debate among the elected representatives. The same way, people also have the right to have a debate on major policies and legislations before passing that bill or before the implementation of that particular law. So there should be an open public debate on major policies and legislations. Citizens' rights to information about the government and its functioning. I told you RTI, Right to Information Act, is there, and citizen has every right to get information about the government and its functioning. Then now, tainted records. What is all this about? This is a about fall short of elections that provide a fair chance to everyone and in subjecting every decision to public debate. So public has every right to question everything to the government. So tainted records mean, if they do not show, the government doesn't show, then it becomes a tainted records. If they are not, they are trying to hide something, some information, then they are not fair. They are not doing the good job there. Sharing information with the citizens. Whatever the citizens are required and whatever the information to be shared, that is not shared means that becomes a tainted. Frustrate the needs of the people. If the people are not happy, if they get frustrated, so what happens? The frustrate the needs of the people. They should not get frustrated. Then next about corruption. There should not be any corruption. So that is compulsory. All these are tainted. So it will spoil the democracy. Now, what can we expect from the government in a democracy? We can expect the government to be attentive to the needs of the people and their demands, and at the same time, the government has to be free of corruption. So, we can expect that the government to be attentive. Attentive means always they should be in a way of helping hand to the needs of the people, and whatever the people are demanding, which are judicially correct, and at the same time government has to be free of corruption. There should not be any corruption in the government. Economic growth and development, it leads to the good economic growth and development. Then here see, there is a example I have taken here. 1950 to 2000, these 50 years, dictatorships had higher rate of economic growth, but that will not last for a longer time. For example, during the time of Hitler, Adolf Hitler, there was rapid economic growth, but later on what happened? All it fell down. Like that, almost all dictators, you find all the dictators here. Economic development depends on several factors. One is how it depends economic development. One is country's population size. So India example, because we are the second largest in the population in the world. So as per our population, our economic development will be slow, but we have to need to bring, the government has to bring lot of new schemes, ideas, and a new way of bringing economic development and using all the citizens, using the population in a positive way, not the negative way. That is changing the population into a human resource, making them as a resource. Then you get more economic development. Global situation, it also depends on the global situation. Cooperation from the other countries, like sharing of technology, sharing of some monetary money and loans and other things, sharing of material, sharing of information, all these must be there with the cooperation from other countries. Economic priorities adopted by the country. So what are our priorities? The government has to adopt it. Major priorities, what we require, that should be taken up. Democracy does not appear to be successful in reducing economic inequalities. Yes, democracy, it doesn't appear to be successful in reducing economic inequalities, means what we call the rich people, the poor people. So only the government in a democracy can do that. They can make the poorer people to come up by giving many schemes, and then they, by giving them, helping them, only they can bring up, because the richer people are growing higher and higher. So a small number of ultra rich enjoy a highly disproportionate share of wealth and income. The richest people, the rich people, they are getting disproportionate share of wealth and income. Their share in total income is increasing. So they are becoming richer and richer. So the government has to stop them. How? By giving tax, by implementing much income tax and all those things, by which they are using the same thing for the uplifting of the poorer people. People at the bottom of society have very little to depend on. So bottom of the society, it has very less scope. So outcomes, finally, what is the outcomes of democracy? Political equality. All individuals have equal weight in electing representatives. I told you, universal adult franchise. One vote, one value. We studied in ninth also. We studied in 10th also, studying now also. An individual, every citizen of India who has crossed the age of 18 years, they have equal weight in electing the representatives. Accommodation of social diversity. Social diversity here, as I spoke to you, the society is divided in various systems. That is like religion, then status, then caste systems, then economic systems like rich, poor, all these things. So communities, societies, all are divided. So democracy is the best government to respect the differences and evolve a mechanism to negotiate differences. We can negotiate the differences among the social diversity. And example is Belgium. We studied in the first chapter, that is power sharing. How Belgium could accommodate all the people, the German speaking and French speaking, and then the Dutch speaking. How they have accommodated. So, and majority to work with minority. Rules, rule by majority means that in case of every election, different persons and groups may and can form majority. So that's why we are getting various political parties, various alliances who can rule the country. So we have seen many changes in the government. Suppose sometimes it is UPA government, sometimes it is NDA government, and sometimes some other government. So in that way, they are getting majority to work. The majority means the population which has majority, and they can work with the minority. That is the lower place. So dignity and freedom of individuals. Passion for respect and freedom are the basis of democracy. Passion for respect. So we get respect and freedom on the are the basis of democracy. Because there is a democracy, we have a value. Out then next is dignity of women, gaining some sensitivity due to long struggles. In the world, many countries they had long struggle, years for centuries together. For example, you studied in French Revolution, women were not having any right to vote. Like that, almost all European countries they never had a right to vote. And even Gulf countries, even now also, many countries do not have women doesn't have right to vote, but in our country we have given equal rights. And then respect and try to give equal treatment of women are necessary. Now even in parliament, in education, in politics, everywhere women are given reservations. Why? To give them equal treatment. Once if it is recognized, it is easier for women to wage a struggle. Once if it is recognized, it is easier for women to wage a struggle. So when it is recognized, how it has been recognized? In our parliament, in our laws, they have made compulsory that women should be given equal rights. So that is called the recognition what it has been given in our country. So now it has become easier for women to wage a struggle. So now mention the steps taken to reduce the effects of casteism in democracy. We were discussing about the casteism. So what is that casteism? In India, democracy has strengthened the claims of the disadvantaged and discriminated caste for equal status and opportunity. So because of democracy, the claims of discriminated castes have been given much value and they have been uplifted in such a way. Reservation in job and in educational institutions. Now we have reservations for like scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, backward class, OBC, EBC, all these things are there. So because of these reservations, they have been uplifted. Constitutional provisions for safeguarding the interest of minorities. Minorities means in our country like Muslims, Jains, Sikhs, Christians, weaker sections, and backward classes. All for all of them, constitutional provisions are being given. So they have been safeguarded. It is the recognition that makes ordinary citizens value their democratic rights. That's why every citizen has many rights in democracy. So, success of democracy comes with more expectations and complaints from people, which indirectly indicates participation. So here success of democracy comes with more expectations. So people generally have more expectations and complaints from people, which indirectly indicates the participation. Participation means here what happens, all the complaints, because generally we study that never the citizens get satisfied. They have expectations higher and higher. Whatever in a democracy, even though the government does anything, still they are not satisfied. So wants are increasing. So it indicates the participation of the people. People have developed awareness and ability to expect and look critically at power holders. Now, what happened? People have developed, they are getting awareness and ability to expect. They are having everything. If they are not getting, they are going for strikes, they are going for various activities. If anything doesn't work, they can go to the courts also, judiciary. They are utilizing that and they are looking every part of the power holders, what they are doing, what are their expectations, whether they are fulfilling their requirements or not. Otherwise they may not vote them. So all these things it will be. So now, as per with this PPT, I have given you lot of information. I have shared you, but before that, even after watching this video, you need to read your textbook, understand every part of the lesson, underline the key sentences, key words, and then you need to prepare your notes. Then only you can be able to understand the chapter. And I request again and again, go through the textbook. You need to read the text. Then only you can go with your respective study material or whatever it is. So unless you read the textbook, you cannot understand the chapters easily. So make a habit of learning things in such a way that you should get the knowledge. You should get all the inputs what you are taking in a proper manner. Thank you.